Hi, everybody. It's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. I hope everyone is enjoying their summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So August is going to be a busy month. I know we've got September as the eclipse season starting, but this is almost a prelude to September. That's how I saw it. And, I always pick a few statements to summarize what I think this month is about. And of course, for August, I picked the portrait of Dorian Gray and then just the word justice. The portrait of Dorian Gray is a story about ostensibly a young man to begin with, who was doing very bad deeds to people and getting away with it. But there was a portrait in the attic that really showed how he became contorted and very ugly as a result of what he was doing. It's actually a very good story. And then justice just remains on its own. There's going to be a lot of justice in August, featuring a lot of laws, featuring various parts of the justice system as well. All right, let's start off with the full moon. That full moon is going to be at 17 Aquarius, 0 degrees on the 9th of August at 12:55 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We're going to be having some of the features that are going to be happening at this moon is going to be the fact that we have Venus is going to be widely conjuncting Jupiter in Cancer. That's going to put a nice soft focus on anything that's going to be jarring to some extent, but it'll also put a focus potentially on women and this nurturing role of Jupiter here as well. Now, we've got Mars that's going to be at 1 degree of Libra, will be trining Pluto, and that's a pretty positive thing. It's kind of like taking action to transform whatever you need to transform. But in particular, because Mars is in Libra, I'm thinking there may be an increase in diplomatic relations, but also an increase in transforming the law of some sort, or maybe transforming in a way where the laws were not applied, they now get applied by those in power that hold the laws. Now, that Mars is going to be featuring at this full moon. So we talked about a nice aspect of the trine to Pluto, but we also have Mars opposite Neptune as well as Saturn. So when we look at, first of all, Mars opposite Saturn, this can bring in more irritability. From a positive side, it can actually give you an ability to do really concentrate on things. But this whole idea of maybe having an opposition, like on an individual basis, it might be your boss has something to say to you that you don't necessarily want to act on, or that you feel doesn't apply to you for whatever reason. Now, when we look at Mars in Libra opposite Neptune in Aries, this can actually bring in infections, fevers, that sort of thing. And also, of course, deception. Mars opposite Neptune can bring deception in. I think a lot of these things are going to be playing out on the world stage collectively. But if you do have some of these degree points, so when we're talking about Mars, we're talking about 1 degree of Libra, and then both Saturn and Neptune are kind of 0-1 degree of Aries. We also have this at this time, Uranus is going to be in Gemini, and hey, that's going to be sextiling both Saturn and Neptune. Mars will be sextiling that Mercury, which is going to still be retrograde. And of course, Saturn and Neptune are in close conjunction to each other. Not exact, but the influence is there. The exact is going to be around the 17th of February next year. So we have this Saturn-Neptune sextiling Pluto. And to me, this is kind of a very significant outer planet configuration. And I think this represents the big reveal, pulling the curtain back. Some people may not be happy about that. Now, Mars is going to be in Libra most of the month, emphasizing, like I said, anything to do with the law as well as diplomatic type relations. So those may be very active here. And certainly if you do have to yourself, say, get involved in that area of life, this could be very positive, make positive inroads, except for the couple things that I mentioned earlier on here. It will go direct at 4 degrees of Leo on the 11th of August. Venus is going to be spending a lot of time in Cancer. And then the Sun will be in Leo until the last week of August. And then the last week of August, that Sun will go into more conservative, fact-finding Virgo. So, when we just look at the Sun does rule Leo. But this could also be a month where we could, really enjoy ourselves. Now, enjoying ourselves can go from 1 to 100. But I would say August could be a month where you could maybe set some stuff in place where you actually enjoy whatever enjoyment is. Maybe just going to the beach, maybe walking by the ocean, maybe going into a forest, maybe just having some friends over for a barbecue. August might be a nice month with that Sun in Leo to do that. Yeah, so we have a lot of things happening in the press, but a big thing that's happening on the press right now and on YouTube and anything everywhere is this resurgence of the whole Epstein files. I'm not going to discuss them. There's so much on the internet right now that you can go and decide what you want to read or listen to. But the person that is still alive in this case, of course, is Gislaine Maxwell, who apparently aided this whole Epstein thing and was convicted. She's in jail right now. But it's really interesting because I decided just to look at her chart. If you don't want to listen to this part of my forecast or analysis, you can just skip through it. I'm not going to go into anything that she was doing. I'm just going to go into her chart, especially for not only the month of August, which may be very significant for her, but also September, the month of the eclipses. So what I did, I've got her charts here, but you'll see up here, on our screen here, her chart. And what I did was I actually did her progressed chart. She was born in December, latter days of December. And I did from December 2024 progressed chart, which actually carries on to December 2025. And so some of the things that really apply here, say for this particular month of August, is that she's got a few things happening. We talked about the full moon that I've just spoken about is at 17 degrees of Aquarius. Well, her south nodes are at 17, 18 degrees of Aquarius in her 10th house of reputation, social standing, career. What are you doing in your life? And that's about to change. This full moon is going to change that for her. And as conjunct her south node says she's going to be letting go of something. Now, when we look at the new moon, which I am going to discuss next, that new moon is at 0 degrees of Virgo in some minutes. Well, her Uranus, as you can see up here, is at 0 degrees of Virgo in her 4th house of home and family. So there's going to be a new start in some way for her, an unexpected new start, as that new moon conjuncts her Uranus. And in the 4th house, it says a new moon with regards to where she lives. And a new moon also suggests her family will take on a new role, maybe in particular her mother, if she's, I don't know if she's still alive, but that could sort of happen here too. Yeah, and I looked at some of the other configurations for September. And as you can see here in the chart, her progressed Venus is at almost 15 degrees of Pisces. Well, where is that first eclipse in September? 15 degrees of Pisces. And it's a total full moon. That's on the 7th of September. I've done a whole video on the eclipses for this year. I put the link below here. I'll discuss it to some extent in my September video here too. But this falls in her 11th house. In addition to being friends and groups, And that type of influence in your world, it's also the house of hopes, dreams, and wishes. And with Venus, Venus likes to attract things in. So there could be some big change also around the 7th of September for her in this area of her life. I mean, the big thing for her is going to be next year, and that would be next August, where we have a total new moon eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo. Because that's going to conjunct her north nodes that are almost 19 degrees of Leo in her 4th house. So August next year could be significant for her in terms of a change of where she lives. The other thing I thought was interesting for this year is her progressed moon is at 25 degrees of Scorpio, right opposite Uranus, transiting Uranus in the 12th house. And so this says to me also, this birthday year, she could have some unexpected thing happen in that 12th house. So the 12th house does rule prisons, as well as hospitals and hidden places and spirituality. But that Uranus, transiting Uranus, is going to be opposite her progressed moon in the 6th house. So there could be some big change that comes unexpectedly, perhaps to do with her being in prison. That's a very emotional, a deep emotional thing for her that changes her daily habits. The 6th house is habits, right? In terms of habits that you do day to day, activities that you do day to day. Typically, that would be our job, but it's also our health. So both these areas of life may be brought up as well during this time period. All right, I'll stop there with her and go on to our next lunation. Our next lunation is going to be a new moon in Virgo, and it's 00 Virgo, 23 minutes on the 22nd of August at 11:07 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now we know that Mercury is now direct. It's not out of shadow yet, but it is going direct here, right? And as a reminder, it goes direct at 4 degrees of Leo. Now, Mercury at this time is going to be at the same degree that Venus retrograde in September 2023 went direct at. And so I thought that was interesting too, that there may be an activation, right? Because in September 2023, that Venus retrograde going direct was at 12 degrees of Leo. Yeah, and of course, we've also had a Mars retrograde that finished off a while back. So this whole area of Leo is being activated again. There could be some, if you do have something, say, around that 12-degree mark, there could be some important communication that either you receive or that you send out to other people with the influence of that Mercury on top of the degree point that Venus went direct at in 2023. Now, because this moon is at 0 and sun is at 00 of Virgo, it really does emphasize the beginnings of a sign, right? And it's a critical degree. It really says to me there's this big, big ushering in of newness, especially regarding important information. Could also have something to do with service of some sort. It could also have something to do with our health. But important information is going to come to light, is what I really got when I looked at this 00 placement of Virgo. Now, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and it will be conjuncting this point of this new moon of 0 degrees of Virgo on the 3rd of September. Note that 3rd of September as being an important time, I think, collectively, for whatever important information has to come in will be coming in. Just take the whole week of that 3rd of September. And certainly if you have something around these degree points, so we're talking really 0 degrees, 0, 1, maybe even 2 degrees of Virgo, and you're expecting some, maybe signing an important contract, waiting to hear about something, it may not be at this new moon on the 22nd of August exactly. It may be actually around the 3rd of September. Just a heads up on that. Venus is going to be squaring Chiron That's not good for our health. There could be some health crisis that comes up at this time. Nicely, though, we're going to have Jupiter trining the north nodes. That's positive outlook for our future, connected in with the newness. We will have Mars widely squaring Jupiter. Usually you can't get a bad aspect with Jupiter, and even the square can bring in some positive movement forward for those folks that need it. Uranus, though, will be squaring this new moon and sun. So this is upsets. You're going to be desiring to break free of something with this influence of Uranus square. So even though this is a new moon, things like the Mars squaring Jupiter, Uranus squaring the new moon and sun can suggest that it's not all going to be straightforward. But hey, if you're looking to get free of something, that could happen with the square. It could work out positively for you, right? But I think there's going to be, going back to what I said at the beginning, a huge breakthrough on important information that allows us to take some newness with regard to whatever it is that comes up. And with Mercury going direct, sextiling that Mars in Libra, it again points back to the legal rulings, also pertaining to this new moon in Virgo. Now, Mercury will be conjuncting the full moon in Leo and opposing the moon in Aquarius on the 26th and 27th of August. So we then talk about Mercury conjuncting the sun that was opposite the full moon in Aquarius. And then, of course, opposite the actual full moon that I spoke about at the beginning of this video, activating that whole full moon, whatever came up, towards the beginning of August. And like I said, that's going to be on the 26th, 27th of August. More information comes in. So I would say that, to me, this month of August, the feature type things here, the planets, are really the personal planets. And in particular, Mercury and Mars are going to be operating here to make things happen, to bring things to light. So there may be a little frustrations, but also you could break free maybe of some things that have been holding you back. And in some cases, maybe holding you back for your whole lifetime. They're going to pounce forward here, right? I'm just going to mention my appearances again that I'm going to be having at San Diego Astrological Society here in San Diego. I'll put the links below here in the text box, but I will be attending a volunteer event. It's called a bazaar, where they have all these types of astrologers, tarot card readers, anyone in the metaphysical arts coming in to volunteer their time. And you, the public, can come in, pay a very small fee, and access all these people during an evening. Usually it starts around 7 in the evening, and that'll be in August. But again, I'll put the links here below so you can get a better idea. Would love to see everybody. I'll be giving my lecture on decans. That'll be in September. I will record it, though, as I said last month, and post it for you if you can't get down, but it'd be great to see you. Now, when we look at this, the peak into September, of course, now we're starting into eclipse season month, which, like I said earlier, I think August is going to be a prelude to what September is going to give us. And what is it going to give us? It's going to give us that total full moon at 15 of Pisces. The new moon will be at that critical anaretic degree of 29 degrees Virgo, and Uranus will go retrograde in Gemini. Talk more about that next month. So when we look at maybe some people that may be in our world that are affected by that Mercury retrograde going direct at 4 degrees of Leo, and, you know, I've spoken about Leo representing royalty to some extent, right? Literally. And I looked at both Prince Charles and Queen Camilla's chart. And it's interesting because they have kind of parallel things in their chart, not everything, but in particular their ascendant, both their ascendants are in Leo. And we've got King Charles has his at 5 degrees, and Camilla has hers at 4 degrees. This really suggests that they will both be giving some kind of joint statement about some aspect of their life. The ascendant really says, I need to, and Mercury on top of it going direct says, we've given a lot of consideration to something and we want to tell you something as a joint statement. So expect something like that, sometime after Mercury goes direct on the 11th of August. But the other royal person that has something going on here is actually Charlene of Monaco. Her Sun and Venus in Aquarius and her 10th house also has this, and it also widely conjuncts her Mars in the 4th house of home. So this 4 degree of Leo opposes her Sun and Venus, but conjuncts her Mars. It suggests two things. She's going to get an opportunity to change her home in some way, but also to change her reputation, her social standing, and potentially her career. So I just thought that she may be making an announcement too. Well, good luck to all of them. So moving on to look at your individual sun sign and or ascendant, I suggest you look at your ascendant first to get the area of your life that may be affected, and then look at the sun just to get maybe some extra information. Observe what happens over the month of August, and then make adjustments as you feel is appropriate. But it's whatever resonates with you, right? So we'll start off with you, Virgo, because yes, you've got your new moon in August. But let's start off with that full moon in Aquarius that occurs first for you. And that's going to be in your 6th house. So if you don't work, it's what do you do day to day is going to be featured in some way. We're also going to have during that time, of course, Mercury will still be retrograde. So there may be a period of time here where you have to wait for something regarding your 6th house. For those that are potentially trying to leave a job, there could be a little bit of a delay here, but there is a big feature here of either your job that you do, the things you do day to day if you are retired, as well as your health. Now, this doesn't have to be bad. There could be something brought to light for you that's important. You could make some major transformational contribution at work or what you do day to day. Your health may see a revival here, or something in your health is brought to light here for you to take action on. Now, when we look at that Mercury retrograde going direct at 4 degrees of Leo, that's going to be in your 12th house, Virgo. So this suggests that there's going to be some behind the scenes negotiations, I would say, maybe communications as well. Maybe you've got to do some creative project of some sort that you can't quite bring out into the open. And you use that Mercury going direct, or maybe the time period afterwards on the 11th of August, to now maybe slowly release information that's important. Or you may hear information. Maybe you've been waiting to hear and just not hearing. It's all crickets. That Mercury goes direct on the 11th of August, and boom, you may start seeing things come out that are important for you regarding, say, that creative project. Now, this could also apply to children if those are in your life, hearing from them, and also potentially from a new love. Maybe something's been held back, and then the communication starts going forward around the 11th of August or after. As I mentioned, that new moon in Virgo is in your 1st house, Virgo. So congratulations. This is your new start to the year, right? Yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, there's a lot of things going on at that new moon in Virgo. And Virgo, because it's at 0 degrees, this emphasizes even more to you personally a new start. So there may be, because you rule things like important information, important facts, health, service, those areas of life may really become, and maybe all of them will come up as an important new start for you at this time, 22nd of August. I'm just going to look back on this chart. I mean, we've got some squares happening, but we've got trines too. So it's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag. But because Mercury is direct and that's your ruler, I feel good for you, Virgo, that this new start could be very, very important for you, depending where it falls in your chart, of course. Yeah, I mean, there could be some legal issues that come up for you too, Virgo, at this time, because we've got Mars, of course, in Libra, which rules, but it also can be diplomacy too, right? And Mercury will be, your ruler will be sextiling Mars. So I'm thinking that there may be, for you, Virgo, some important facts or information come to you that allow you to move forward now with something in a legal matter. Yeah. So watch out for that, all right? All right, take care of yourself, Virgo. So Libra, the full moon in Aquarius is a fellow air sign. And so this trines you and accents your fifth house. So there may be something important with regards to a new love in your life, children, a creative project. You may even get just opportunities to have some fun. This may initiate a whole month for you, Libra, to actually have some fun after maybe a lot of hard work, right? That's what I'm thinking at this. Now, there are a lot of things happening at that whole moon, and in particular, it's obviously going to be opposite of the sun, which is going to be in Leo. We're going to have Pluto is in Aquarius. It doesn't conjunct the moon, but it is in Aquarius as well. And of course, Mars is exerting its effect here too, in opposition to both Saturn and Neptune. And so there could be some legal stuff that comes up, some diplomacy. Maybe you've got to introduce some harmony for whatever reason, like you're responsible for it, that comes from maybe a dissolution of a structure of some sort. Maybe that structure could actually be, say, your manager or whoever's above you. Maybe something's going to happen to them, like they dissolve out of sight, and you're going to have to somehow take control and be responsible for some things here as well. That's what I'm thinking. Because that Mars is in your sign, right? That could be up for you as well. I mean, the other positive thing is, of course, Libra, is that Mars will also trine Pluto, Uranus, right? So these are positive things. So there could be some transformation that happens unexpectedly for you. And I'm just getting this intuitively with regards to maybe your manager or boss or someone important, or a removal of some restriction that you've had. That's another one that could happen here too. Okay, when we look at the Mercury going direct at 4 degrees of Leo, well, that sextiles your sign and involves your 11th house. So this could just simply be you maybe having some disagreements previously with some friends or even a group that maybe you belong to. That gets resolved. You get this opportunity to resolve whatever the issues were. And it could just be debates were going on and the debates end. That sort of thing could happen. It could also be maybe some negotiation with a group that you wanted to belong to. Maybe this is an exclusive group. And once this goes direct on the 11th, Mercury go direct on the 11th, you're given the opportunity to, they say, yeah, here, come and join our group. That could happen here as well. The 11th house is also hopes, dreams, and wishes. Some movement forward with regards to communication, facts, messages could help you maybe make one of your hopes, dreams, or wishes come true at this time. But that 5th house is going to be powerfully and positively aspected. For those looking for new love, this could be it. You end your singledom, this is a full moon, and you move forward with someone that really interests you. Children could also feature here too. This could be the birth of a child. And then, of course, creative projects. you could be wrapping up a creative project you've been working on for some time and be able to present it to the world. Although with that Mercury still going retrograde at the full moon, you might have to wait to the 11th to officially do that. The new moon in Virgo, it involves your 12th house. So this really speaks to me because Mercury rules Virgo. It says to me that you're collecting information. And this just may be part of a job you're doing, that you have to work in the background to collect information. It can also have you working in the background with regards to hidden places like hospitals, prisons, ashrams, government offices could feature here at this new moon, where there's a new start there for whatever reason. Take care, Libra. So Scorpio, that full moon that's in Aquarius will square your sign and involve the 4th house. And so there could be something brought up with regards to your family, in particular your mother, but it could also have something to do with your literal home. There may be some difficulties with regards to maybe you're trying to sell a home. This is a full moon after all. And you're just met with one thing after another. I've had this personally happen to me, where no matter how much effort and how much planning you've done, there's still some block or delays. I mean, I'm making this the 3rd week of July. So for those Scorpios that are maybe looking to start selling their house in August, maybe really take the time right now to get a good real estate agent, carefully look at everything that is involved in this transaction, including the home itself, get it thoroughly checked out, just as sort of a heads up if this is the category that you're in here, right? But the 4th house can also bring in difficulties, say, with your mother, or with your family, or the family and the mother. Maybe your mother is having difficulties, and you're up for solving those difficulties. Now, when we look at that Mercury retrograde in Leo going direct, that squares you too, but it's your 10th house. So with the full moon and the Mercury both squaring you, it says to me that there's going to be some obstacles and challenges you've got to overcome. And this can play out a couple ways. You could have what I just spoke about, problems with your mother and or your family that somehow you've got to get involved in resolving. But then with that Mercury going direct, squaring your 10th house, you could also get some news regarding your career, what you're doing in your career at this point. Now, the impact of what's happening with your family and or your mother, for instance, may be impacting how you can do your career. Maybe there's some criticism about you're not putting in enough effort. But the reason you're not is because you're having to do all this things with your mother and or your family that are taking up a lot of your time. Alternatively, it can be the opposite, where you're required to put in maybe a lot more work into your career, or there's challenges there that you're responsible for that you have to take care of, and it affects your actual family. It affects maybe your actual home. It doesn't mean you can't overcome these. That doesn't mean it, especially with the Mercury going direct. There may be some positive outcome in your career, even though it might be challenging where you have to work at it, but that's positive for you, right? With it going direct. Now, that new moon, though, in Virgo, sextiles you, Scorpio. That's opportunities coming your way. Where? From the 11th house. So this is your friends, basically, the groups you belong to, hopes, dreams, and wishes. My feeling is that friends are going to be very useful for you up at that full moon, right? I think you should leverage your connections with friends, the groups that you belong with regards to whatever challenges you have at the full moon in your career and or your family or home, because that's going to be your new start. That's going to push you forward on this new start in the 11th house, your hopes, dreams, or wishes. Your hopes, dreams, or wishes could be to do with buying maybe your own home, selling your home, starting a new career. Yeah, so don't forget your friends, and don't forget the groups that you belong to assist you with the difficult times that you may have in August. Take care, Scorpio. So Sagittarius, that full moon in Aquarius, sextiles you. It brings in opportunities. From where? From the third house. And the third house is basically all about communications. It can be short distance travel. It can be writing. Sales and commerce efforts can come through here. Early education. All that can be featured here, right? So there's going to be maybe some Sagittarians that get the opportunity to stop something in that area. What could that be? You wrap up a writing project of some sort. You wrap up maybe some travel that you've had to do to collect important information, maybe for your job or for you personally in whatever job you do, maybe as your own business. Now, that is in Aquarius. Aquarius, we tend to look at social media, other things too, but because we're talking about communications, we're just going to focus on social media. So there may be some wrap up regarding social media. Maybe you've been working to put together some big internet situation. Maybe you've been doing something regarding your own podcasts or your company's podcast, setting up Instagram and YouTube accounts. They all come up to culmination at this full moon, and you can pat yourself on the back, right? But it will give you opportunities to move forward in some way. Maybe you cap out at your YouTube where you get, you reach 100,000. All those types of things that could come to light here for you, right? Now, that Mercury going direct is in the fellow fire sign, and it will be trining you and involving the ninth house. Now, the ninth house is opposite the third house that I just spoke about. You could have some fabulous opportunities getting a green light to do some long distance travel of some, maybe overseas. That trine is just beaming positive energy for travel, no question. But foreign people and foreign things could come in to be extremely important for you too. This could also be you given the green light for those that are starting maybe an advanced degree. This is them talking to you and saying, hey, it's all going to go forward now. You've been accepted. Or even ending, potentially wrapping up, maybe, presenting your dissertation to your committee and being approved around this direct Mercury at 4 degrees of Leo on the 11th of August. This can also be a wrap up of maybe intense legal negotiations that you've been going through. This is positive for you, Sagittarius. It's going to give you the ability to maybe wrap that up too. It's also publishing. So for those Sagittarians that are publishing things, this is also positive, or maybe negotiations you've gone through to get something published comes to fruition for you. Now, when we look at that new moon in Virgo, Sagittarius, it squares you and involves your 10th house. 10th house tends to be your career, but it's also your reputation as well as your social standing. With the square, it says that you want to make this new start, or maybe you are already making a new start in your career, and there's a bit of a bump in the road here at this new moon. And it just means, Sagittarius, that you have to overcome something. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to do what you want to do in your career. I would say with the Virgo part, it really suggests make sure that you have all your facts and important information lined up. Make sure that you've got all your communications running smoothly, because it could be these areas that trip you up a little bit with that square. It's also about service. So if you are doing something, say, new in the service industry as part of your job, for instance, make sure you really understand how to give good service, right? Maybe even taking a small course might be useful too, with that lovely activation up in your third house, right? Third house is like early education, more minor stuff like certifications and that. That could help you with the challenges that you may have in your career. But it may also just be, Sagittarius, that you're taking on a new career, taking a step up on the ladder, and you have to put some effort into here, or you have to do something more to get things going in that way. It doesn't mean it won't happen. Take care, Sagittarius. So Capricorn, that full moon in Aquarius falls in your second house. Now, a direct translation would be there's some ending with regards to an income that you have coming in. It can also, though, mean that you've come to an understanding in your head that you're not being valued enough where you're earning your income, which would be your job, right? And you decide at this time to change that. And you may change it by saying you don't want this job anymore. Now, if that is the case for you, I would say that if you can wait till Mercury at least goes direct or a day afterwards, that would be a better time to announce something like that. And that's going to be on the 11th of August. Because at the full moon, we will still have the Mercury going retrograde. So I guess it really says to me, make sure you understand the important information, right? And I would say that includes looking at your contract. Is there a non-compete in there? And these are all just intuitions I'm getting for you, Capricorn, right now. It could just turn out you decide, maybe you are working 2 or 3 jobs and you decide, I'm giving one up. Or maybe you're not earning enough at that YouTube channel with all the effort you're putting in, and you just decide to change it up, either to leave it or to maybe collaborate with other people. Because certainly Aquarius can emphasize other people and the internet, all that type of thing too, any kind of social media. Now, that Mercury going direct on the 11th of August at 4 degrees of Leo is in your 8th house. And so this also may have been a time when you were negotiating or maybe mixing up some of your investments, deciding I'm going to let this go and I want to put more money in this. And you were maybe working with a financial advisor to make that happen. This Mercury direct, maybe you'll get a call or a message from your financial advisor to say, everything's in place now. I just need your okay. And then we're moving forward with this. That could happen here too. It can also be the start of maybe you've been negotiating a mortgage. And on the 11th of August or just after, you get the green light for your mortgage. It could also be credit cards. Maybe you applied for a credit card or a line of credit and you get approval at this time too. Yeah. Now, when we look at that new moon in Virgo Capricorn, well, that's a fellow Earth sign. So it trines you. That's beaming favorable energy. We want to make this all happen for you. And that involves your 9th house. So this could be you putting plans together and finalizing a big trip for yourself overseas, Capricorn. The 9th house is also for those trying to publish something. This could be you've got all your important facts lined up and boom, they say, yes, we'd like to publish whatever you have. But it can also have you having a new start with regard to, say, an advanced degree here. This can also be very positive for you in a new start in a legal matter, in a very, very positive way. With the influence of Virgo, it says, make sure you have the important facts, not just any facts that you want to make a new start with here. A new leaf in that area you turn over, right? But I think for me, travel seems more important. And the Virgo part says you put together all these important facts and information about where you want to go, and the opportunity comes up to go traveling. Yeah. Take care, Capricorn. So Aquarius, of course, that full moon in Aquarius is in your sign. So we're talking about mainly your first house here, right? So there could be some real breakthroughs for you here, Aquarius. What area of your life do you need to break free from? I mean, this is a big full moon for you. There's a lot of positive aspects, but there's also some challenging aspects here too. I would say that, if there's some information that comes to light here for you that you're not sure about, it's probably true that you're not sure about it, that things haven't been cleared up. Because Mercury will be retrograde, not direct at that full moon. I would say wait till after the 11th of August when Mercury will be direct to either make a decision, sign a contract, or finalize, say, something in your mind about an attitude towards something in your life that you wanted to break free from. But this could just be an instantaneous, you're out of there. And it could just be you, Aquarius, that makes that decision, right? Depending where this falls in your chart. I'm just looking at the chart again here. There is a yod that's formed with Uranus on one side, or one point, and then there's Saturn and Neptune on the other point, pointing to Black Moon Lilith. So there could be some irritations here that come up that you say, I've had enough, I want to get out of this situation, and you make the decision to do that. I mean, Pluto will be widely opposite to Mercury. So either you could be given some communications out here that are powerful and transformative, or you may be receiving them. But I think it's a big turning point here for some Aquarians, for sure. If you have anything around, say, that 17-degree mark of Aquarius. If you don't, Aquarius, you may not feel the effects of this. I mean, other positive things that are happening are Jupiter and Venus are conjunct in Cancer. And so this brings in benefits for you depending where it falls in your chart, right? All right. Talking about that Mercury retrograde going direct at 4 degrees of Leo on the 11th, it is opposite to your 7th house. So if you've been having some miscommunications or maybe difficult communications with, either your business partner and or your actual spouse, or maybe even your clients, this Mercury going direct could clear it all up. So stay open to that. If some frustrations happen at your full moon, stay open to the 11th of August and afterwards for maybe clearing up something here. And it may come through some kind of creative project because that certainly is Leo too. But Leo also represents love. So there's a little bit more of a leaning towards perhaps a serious partner of some sort from a romantic instance. Now, when we look at the new moon in Virgo, that falls in your 8th house. So this is a potential new start for you to actually get a mortgage, to get some kind of line of credit approved for yourself. The important thing here is with the Virgo is that, when you're filling out your forms and everything, that you very, very carefully make sure you're doing everything correctly, that you've got all the facts lined up correctly. That's what that says to me. What else could it be? It could just be a new start for you. Maybe you're taking a financial advisor on board, and this is a new start with you working with someone who you're really excited about to get something going here, right? And investing your money. It's a positive new start for you. So take advantage of that. I mean, although it's not a wrap up necessarily, there may be some Aquarians that have been working really hard at cleaning up their credit. And then this new start is because you've cleaned up your credit and you see that you're free, right? Free of your credit card debt, maybe. Maybe even free of a mortgage of some sort or some loan that you've had. That could be positively emphasized here too. Take care, Aquarius. So Pisces, that a full moon in Aquarius falls in your 12th house. And so there may be some emphasis on things behind the scenes for you. What could some of those things be? Well, some of those things could be, maybe you've been going for physical therapy to a hospital or a hospital outpatient type thing. And this is your last visit. And you can say, wow, I've put a lot of effort into this. And now I can stop going there. That could be. Or maybe you're getting some infusions of some sort in a hospital. And your doctor says, well, that's it now. Wrap it up. For still others, Maybe you've been pursuing some kind of metaphysical part of your life, maybe some education of some sort. Maybe you've been setting up over the past while some kind of social media accounts, and you finally finalize it right at this full moon in Aquarius. When we look at Mercury going direct at 4 Leo on the 11th of August, that falls in your 6th house. So there's going to be some Pisces that have been negotiating a new job. That's 6th house. Still others may be working hard at putting together and communicating with experts to get their health in better order, right? Maybe even consulting a nutritionist takes off for you. You get who you want to work with. Maybe somebody with regards to an exercise program as well. But this also can be mental health too, right? It can emphasize for sure maybe some negotiations for some Pisces that maybe wanted to change their job, maybe you wanted to get a promotion, and you've been negotiating that and maybe negotiating more money. Then this Mercury goes direct. I'd wait for a few days and you get the message that you wanted to hear regarding this job, regarding your health as well. And it's also small animals. So there may be some Pisces that literally get a small animal coming their way as well. They get the message that, hey, this furry little animal that you've wanted is available to pick up. And that's a happy day for you. When we look at that new moon in Virgo, well, we know that Virgo is opposite to you, right? And it involves your 7th house. So it's a new start, but there's going to have to be some involvement of either a business partner or partnerships, a marriage partner and or clients. Now, this could just be, for some Pisces, you setting up some new initiative that involves clients or setting up a new business partnership. And the new start is in that area. But the new start could also be a new start with your partner that you are looking at and that you are affected by. I mean, Pisces, you've got your full moon, total full moon eclipse early in September that's coming up too. So pay attention to what happens in a new way, because there could be a big illumination put on you personally early September as a result of whatever this new thing is. Yeah. And, for still others, if you're looking to meet the love of your life or a potential either business partnership or marriage partnership, they could come in here at this new moon. Mm-hmm. Take care, Pisces. So Aries, that full moon in Aquarius sextiles your sign, and it involves your 11th house. So this could be some opportunity for you to take a different take on the friends that you have, a different take with regards to the groups that you belong to. You may also reformulate what your hopes, dreams, and wishes are. Maybe you're going to put a vision board together. That actually might be a good thing to do, even though it's a full moon, because your 11th house is highlighted here, and 11th house is hopes, dreams, and wishes. Vision board might be a good thing. What do I want in my life here? In particular, like what does a good friend look like for me? When I encounter somebody as a friend, what do they look like? But as I said, might be a good time to put together your hopes, dreams, and wishes down on some kind of piece of paper that you can look at every day and be reminded of. There just may be a lot of activities around friends, and the activities may be through sort of social media. Maybe you'll meet new friends as well, even though it's a full moon, through social media of some sort. There could also be a wrap-up of, say, a project you've been working on with others that is really spearheading humanitarian causes for people. And you finally have put all this together with other people, and now it's ready to present. to the world. And that's the illumination. When we look at Mercury going direct at 4 degrees of Leo on the 11th of August, well, that falls beautifully in your 5th house. And it's a fellow fire sign, so it trines. So for those Aries looking to have some really good communications with a new love, it's going to happen from the 11th of August onwards, or at least look to that time, right? And especially since it's in Leo, and Leo represents true love and new love, this could be a real turning point in a relationship for you. But it can also be a turning point with regards to a creative project. Maybe you've been negotiating for a creative project of some sort coming your way, maybe a writing project. And boom, you get the communication 11th of August onwards that you have it. For others, you could learn that you're pregnant. 5th house is also pregnancy too. But the 5th house is also having fun. And hey, you just may get a message or a couple messages coming through, Aries, that says, why don't you come to this event? And you say, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. I would say, go, Aries. So that new moon in Virgo falls in your 6th house. So this is going to be for some Aries. Now, this is at 0 degrees of Virgo. So this says to me there's going to be potentially some new start with regards to a job, a new start with regards to your health, whether it's your physical health, your nutrition, your mental health. All those can be featured here as new starts, right? And Mercury will be direct at the new moon, bringing in clearer communications, clearer information, clearer facts that come to light here for you to move forward with something in the 8th house. I mean in the 6th house. So it's health, it's a new job, it's perhaps also a new start in the job that you're in, that you've been maybe seeking out an advancement, a promotion. And the promotion may come when we have Mercury going direct sometime after the 11th of August, but it manifests more importantly at that new moon. And the new moon is on the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, 22nd of August, where you start your new job. The other thing is, Aries, is that your job now, or the things that you do day to day if you do not work, involve collecting important information. It can involve some aspect of health, and it can involve some type of service. All of those can be included in here as a new start too. Take care, Aries. So Taurus, that full moon in Aquarius squares your sign and involves the 10th house. And Mercury will be retrograde on top of it. So I would say that something may come to light for you that causes you to have to think outside the box. Now, this could manifest in you deciding to leave the career that you're in and decide to do something else. That might be the whole thing that happens here with that combination of the Mercury retrograde as well as the square. This could also be a turning point in, say, if your career is in social media of some sort, there may be some challenge that comes up here for you that you have to overcome. Just think outside the box. It doesn't mean you can't make things happen. But remember, Mercury is retrograde. Perhaps wait until after Mercury goes direct. That's after the 11th of this month of August. And things will clear up more readily. So there may be a little frustration around your career at the full moon. That's okay. Just collect your facts, right? Collect the information that you need to. And if you can, wait till after Mercury starts going direct around the 11th of August to clear things up. And it could be just misunderstandings here, right? I mean, especially I always say emails and all that can be misunderstood. So it's always better to talk face to face if you can. When we look at that Mercury retrograde at 4 degrees of Leo, that also squares you, Taurus, and involves your 4th house. So now we're talking about your family, your mother in particular, also your physical home that you have. It can also be your childhood home too. And so what this is saying is that whatever communications you've been either going through with people or going through regarding a home, there's some challenge or block. And it may be just something like a perceived delay. But because we're talking about Mercury going direct here, make sure you've got your information correct, that you're not misunderstanding something. That's what I'm getting here with this square. Or maybe a contract that you've been negotiating to maybe buy or sell a home. You look at it, it's been finalized, and you look at it and you say, well, this is not what I asked for. Well, that's okay. Just go back and get that revised. Now, I'm making this around the third week or so of July. If you're listening to it around that time and you're planning on putting your house up for sale or buying a home, pay attention to what I've just said. Make sure you've vetted all, if you're going to use a real estate agent, make sure you've really vetted them carefully. And make sure you understand contracts and what they mean. Ask questions, right? So that when this comes up potentially in August, you're all set. Now, when we look at that new moon in Virgo, well, that's a super positive one for you because it trines you and it involves your fifth house I've got here. Yeah, your fifth house. I love the fifth house. And so this is a new start. For some Taurians, a new love comes in. For others, maybe you give birth. You've got a new child in your life right now or coming up at that time. The new moon is on the 22nd of August. For others, this could be you being awarded this great creative project that you've been looking forward to doing. And maybe this creative project involves you collecting important information of some sort. Maybe even something regarding health-related things. Also, it can be service-oriented as well. I mean, the other thing that the fifth house also represents is having fun. And so there may be some new start here where you either read or are given important information about some fun events. It could be something as simple as that, right? August is a month of getting together with your friends, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, and enjoying the summer, right? Yeah. It's a good setup with the trine Taurus, so view this as very positive, right? Take care of yourself, Taurus. So Gemini, that full moon in Aquarius, is in a fellow air sign. So this is a positive trine for you, and it involves your ninth house. Hey, you could just be ending some travel, but equally, you could be ending all the preparation for going on a trip at this time, and all the stars line up for you, Gemini. That ninth house is also for some Geminis, and I do know a Gemini that's completed their advanced education, and it all is done. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Again, stars lining up for you. The ninth house is also legal matters as well as publishing, so these two areas could be featured for some Geminis as well. Maybe a writing project of some sort is all tied up. Maybe your legal matters come to an end here positively for you too. Yeah, it's a good full moon for you, Gemini, in all those areas that I've just discussed. Now, when we look at Mercury now going direct at 4 degrees of Leo, that also is positive for you because it's a sextile. Sextiles are opportunities, whether or not you want to take them. And that's going to involve your third house. So this is going to feature maybe some communications that you've been maybe working on contracts, maybe just filling out forms. All these types of things could be accented here where you finally get the green light that everything's done right and you could submit everything. So anything to do with writing. This could also be a time where you get the green light where maybe you've wanted to do some traveling, short distance traveling. Maybe it's in your job and they say, yeah, we want you to go around the city here to these different places collecting information for us. The third house also could have you being awarded literally a writing project of some sort. It's also sales and commerce. So sales and commerce could come in here too. Maybe you've negotiated a contract to do with sales and commerce, and you sign, seal, and deliver it. Yeah, we go back to that ninth house activation. I also wanted to mention that ninth house is also visas, green cards, anything to do with that. And the full moon says you've got it. All right, let's finish off here, Gemini, with the new moon in Virgo. It squares your sign and involves the fourth house. So this could just bring up some challenges with regards to the home that you're in. It can bring up challenges with regards to your family, in particular your mother. And, it could just be communications aren't working out here, or that you have to work on communications with your family and or your mother, but also a home. Now, with the square, it says you may have some difficulties in these areas or challenges. So for those Geminis that are maybe negotiating either renting a home, buying a home, selling a home, because that falls under the auspices of the fourth house too, I would say just make sure you've collected all the important information. When you sign a contract, read it carefully, that sort of thing. I'm making this about the third week of July. So if you know towards the 22nd or so of August, you're taking on some new home of some sort, renting, buying, selling, think now, when you're listening to this in July, of what maybe you need to look at to make sure there aren't any hiccups in that. And then this square may just turn around to make things better for you. Take care of the details is what I say. Take care, Gemini. All right, Cancer. So your full moon here in Aquarius falls in your 8th house. So this is some wrap up with regards to shared resources. A mortgage, you may pay off, put your last monthly payment on your mortgage. You may pay off your credit card, pay off your back taxes. Real positive here in many respects. For others, the 8th house also can represent, your psychological self. And so there may be some Cancers that have been going through some, psychological therapy, and you say, I'm good now. I really appreciated it. I've got the enlightenment I need, and you decide to stop doing therapy at this time. In psychological therapy, right? It could also be that you, for some reason, maybe you've had to share some resource with somebody, and there's a financial element, and that ends here at this time in a very positive way. When we look at Mercury going direct at 4 degrees of Leo on the 11th of August, well, that falls in your 2nd house. So that's super positive. For those Cancers that have been negotiating a new job or negotiating in a present job for more money, yeah, you're going to get more money here. Mercury going direct says no problem. It also says that there may be, in terms of your value may, someone may send you a message or may read a message about yourself that says how valuable you are. And you could have an increase, you could get a message about an increase in income here. For others, you may just change your job. And maybe you've been interviewing and waiting to hear back. And around the 11th or so of August, you hear back that you've got the job. Especially if this job is in a creative project of some sort, children are involved, or even having fun is involved. Now, it could just by chance bring in a message from a love your way. Maybe a past love gets in touch with you once Mercury goes direct here. And that is something that comes up here with the Mercury going direct. But more than likely, this is going to be connected with a source of income and your value. Now we look at that new moon in Virgo. Well, that forms a sextile with your sign, Cancer, and involves your 3rd house. So the 3rd house being aspected here is a new start. It means that maybe you're going to take on a new writing project of some sort. There may be a new sales and commerce initiative that's coming up for you that you get involved with. The fact or the emphasis that this new moon is putting in Virgo is Virgo type activity. So this says health could be involved here. It says collecting important information could be important here. I'm thinking that for those Cancers that are getting involved in a writing project, that writing project could involve you having to collect important information, and it could be about health of some sort. Virgo is also service-oriented. So this could be you providing an opportunity to provide service. Maybe part of that service is you traveling around your city, your state, or your province. That's also third house. But it also could have you, siblings is covered in the third house as well as neighbors. So there may be some new initiative here regarding siblings and neighbors that may relate to important information that you both share together, right? Take care, Cancer. So Leo, that full moon in Aquarius is going to fall in your 7th house, and it will be opposite to you. And so this puts more of an emphasis, like a big spotlight on your partnerships. So this could be business partnerships, this could be your marriage partner, or this could be clients. And honestly, Leo, it's a big full moon. It could be all 3 of those areas of your life, people in your life. And the 7th house is all others. So it's you sitting here and looking at all those other people. That's the dynamic we're talking about. But the activity is happening with the other people. You have to get involved with it because you're personally involved with either a marriage partnership or a business partnership and or clients. That's where your role comes in here. Yeah, so I would say that with the opposition, it may mean that you're going to have a give and take here with that area of your life. Let's just take a look at that a little more here. Because it's a full moon, Leo, you know that the sun is actually in your 1st house, right? As it's in Leo, opposite of Aquarius. Yeah, the other thing that's going on at that involves you personally is that Pluto is in Aquarius at 2 degrees and Mercury in Leo is at 4 degrees. Yeah, and it is retrograde. So there could be some transformational information that comes in for you that causes you pause for thought because Mercury is retrograde. So that's the other thing, Leo, that pertains specifically, I would say, to you because you're a Leo. Pay attention to anything you're writing. Pay attention to any messages you receive, but more importantly, the messages you give out. Make sure that they are clear at that full moon, because with the Mercury retrograde, there could be a scrambling, a confusion, etc. And of course, typically we can always have things like computers not work right, that type of thing. You think you said something a certain way and they say, well, no, I heard it this way, or look, take a look at your message, what you said. All right, enough about the full moon. The Mercury going direct at 4 degrees is, of course, in Leo, so that features you again, and it's in your 1st house. So if there are any at the beginning of the month of August, scrambles of information, you don't seem to have things clear, or maybe even you're writing things and they're not clear, wait till the 11th of August to have a movement forward with regards to things clearing up, either in communications, in writing, in some kind of messaging of some sort. Yeah. I think this is specific more to you personally because it affects your 1st house, Leo. I'm just giving you a heads up that I'm making this about the 3rd week of July. If you are doing any kind of writing or important messaging or waiting for important messages, just be very careful to, double check all your work. And know that if you're waiting for something, an important communication, you may not receive it until after the 11th And in fact, you may not receive it until early September time period, when we have Mercury forming a nice aspect. I'll talk about that in September. All right, when we look at that new moon in Virgo, well, that's in your second house. So there's going to be some Leos that are literally starting a new job. And the new job may have something to do with collecting important information. It could have something to do with health. It could be some kind of service-oriented job that you end up doing, earning your money from. Yeah, it's a new start. You may also be one of those lucky Leos that is getting a promotion. And it's a new start with more money coming your way. It's also a new start with regards to maybe people valuing you as well. Maybe you get some kind of accolade coming your way where you say, wow, I didn't think I was valued so much. And this new moon brings that in for you. And they say, yeah, you've done some great work bringing important information and important facts our way. Writing that you've done is praised at this time. It could also mean, though, that maybe you will be doing some kind of writing with important facts around this new moon, which is on the 22nd of August. Now, we'll leave it at that. Take care of yourself, Leo. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. I hope we all get an opportunity in August to have some fun. That's what I'm left with here. And to maybe let things, not take things so personally and let things fall off our shoulders a bit and say, let's look for some situation here where I can enjoy myself in this month of August. We've got September as a big eclipse month. I've already discussed a little bit about that. But I do have my video here below if you would like to listen to the actual eclipses I discuss in detail, and I go into your ascendants and sun signs too. September's next. Stay tuned. Take care of yourself. I'm always interested in doing your chart, and I always love to hear from you in the comments. Please take care, and lots of love sending your way. Bye for now.